Yo, what it do? Welcome to the third episode. Yes, you guessed it. We still going. It's not over. It's not even halfway there. Welcome to the Charlie V podcast with your host, the one and only mother-loving Charlie V, which is I. So, what are we going to be talking about today? As usually, I don't freaking know. Or do I? I'm not even sure. So, perseverance, knowledge versus wisdom. There's so many things we could talk about. But let's just start with that. Knowledge versus wisdom. So basically, there's this weird misconception where people think that if you have good grades, you're very wise. But that is not true. You could be very not wise and be very knowledgeable and have a lot of wisdom and not have a lot of knowledge. How does that even work, you may ask? So this is how it works. Basically, knowledge it could be anything from, well, not anything, but it is anything from academically, which is what you learn in school, basically, history, math, Spanish, English, whatever. Wisdom, what is wisdom on the other hand? Wisdom is more like life experience and advice that'll change your life. It's more like, hey, it's just, life experience will give you wisdom. And learning will give you knowledge. But to have wisdom, you have to learn the ways of life. So you gotta have a balance, I guess, I guess everything in life should be a balance. That's why we have the yin-yang. Can't have light without darkness. Can't have darkness without light. You can't have weed without the blunt. And you should not have the blunt without weed, because that is just nasty. And as always, I forgot to mention, this is a green podcast. So if you hear that good jingle, just remember, Sweet Home Alabama, Jesus take the wheel, pack that kush, hit that green, why drink and drive when you could spark and fly? Hit that shit. And what are we smoking today, my green creeps? We are smoking a strain called 40 Years. It is a indica predominantly, and it has a, let me see the percentage of this. Well, clear disclaimer. Well, actually, I have it here. I thought I didn't have it. It's 24.75% and 0.09 CBD. It is indica predominantly, and once again, it is called a 40 years. Well, just 40 years. Yo, how awesome and badass would it be if you were smoking the same strain while I'm doing this shit? Yo, that would be gangsta. Or maybe just really cool. Anyway, knowledge versus wisdom. And as we speak, I'm going to be packing a bowl to smoke some of that green, because how can we have a green podcast if there's no green to light up in the podcast, right? And yes, I am fully aware that in the last episode we didn't have any green, because I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I was in a place where I couldn't have any green at the moment, so yes. You hear that shit? That sounds so nice when you just open that little weed. Just hear that. Oh, yeah. And then you close that shit. You know that bowl's packed. Hell yeah. So, as always, chick. I'm sorry. Let me do that again. And no, I'm not going to edit this. I don't know why I said chick, but basically, that's that lighter language. Let's hit that shit. Just give me a... You know what? I'm going to give you a couple seconds just in case you want to do the same as I. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's hit that shit. Okay, so currently I'm hitting that. Just allow me a brief moment. I kind of learned last time after hearing that first episode, or the second one, I was kind of blowing into the microphone, smoking that weed, thinking it was going to give it a cool sound effect, but it just really didn't sound good. It sounded like I was in a tornado stuck with Dorothy, and I looked at my shoes and it had one red shoe and the other red shoe was flying, so I'm like, hey, fuck this, I'm not going home, I guess. But whatever. And as always, I want to mention as well, thank you for still being part of the family, or just joining, or just clicking to give me that play, I guess. I'll take that too. Beggars aren't choosers, but in life, we're all beggars, aren't we? So, knowledge versus wisdom. What would you rather have, huh? I'd say if you want to live a long life, you need that wisdom. But if you want to have good credit, you need that knowledge. You know what I mean? But then again, what the hell is even credit? Obviously, I know how it is. Well, I know what it is, not how it is, but I know how it works. I work in the bank. I'm not sure if I even mentioned that. I'm not even sure if I ever mentioned that. I remember saying I was gonna get a part time. Oh, hey, guess what? I got it. So I got less money, less, but I got more life. So got more time to live. And at the end of the day, trust me, you want that shit. But anyway, knowledge versus wisdom. What the hell is up with that, huh? Like I said, if you want good credit, you need knowledge, but if you want to live a long life, you need wisdom. Isn't it overrated though? Like living a long life? And I know it sounds fucking crazy when I say that, but do you really want to reach 100 years though? Like literally 100 years. Like someone has to wipe your ass every day until you die. I'm like, oh shit. I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm not gonna reach 100, and I know you probably aren't gonna reach 100 either, which is pretty fucked up to say out loud, but I'm alone, so who gives a shit? This is kind of a disclaimer. Well, not a disclaimer, just a bubble, but it's so funny, or it makes so much sense, the phrase, who gives a shit? Because there's only one answer to who gives a shit, and that answer is no one, because no one gives a shit. Do you get it? And I don't mean like just a phrase, I mean like really think about it. That is such a good phrase. No one needs to explain that. It's like, who gives a shit? And like, who would? Like literally, so no one gives a shit. I don't know. It's so beautiful. I just love words, and I just love how they come together. And words are like Legos in real life, and once you spit them out, there's no way, there's no going back. There's no going back. If you tell something to someone and then you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, all you have is regret, because you do not have a chance to go back in time. So that's why wisdom is so important. Wisdom is basically knowing what to say and when to say it, or just knowing how will it affect, or just feeling the right, I don't know, whatever. But besides that, besides wisdom and knowledge and the whole shebang bang, you know what's crazy as well? It's crazy how the porn industry has been alive for so many years, and I feel like the porn industry has been alive way before we even had cameras. Like back then, it was like, hey, I'll give you 5 berries and half a coconut if you show me your berries and your coconuts. Hey, see what I did there? And yes, we're gonna take another hit just for that, just so you could forget what I just said. We're gonna take a hit. Let's get that. Just give me a couple seconds, and no, I'm not gonna stop recording. And the reason I don't do that is so you could smoke with me from wherever the hell you are. So let's just get that. Just hold that in. Keep it steady. Keep it steady, Captain. Don't let go. Now we let go. Okay, here we go. You know what's another good saying? By the way, I love sayings. Like, I don't mean like saying like a super saiyan, which I do too, but just sayings, you know. This other saying, damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn, what the fuck was it? So, I guess that was that, huh? I guess we ain't gonna hear the rest of that. Anyway, going back to the porn industry. It's so crazy how the porn industry has been alive since forever, and now there's OnlyFans. Yes, you heard me right, OnlyFans. And to me, that shit is so mind-blowing that it just makes so much sense. Because there's always going to be creeps. And by creeps, you know what I mean. Just people who want to see things. It doesn't make you a creep that you want to see someone naked. It just makes you human. But it's still kind of creepy if you think about it. But it's not, but it is. But it's not, but it is. It's like one of those things. It's like, hey, are you going to drink dirty water just because you're thirsty? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. And do with that what you will. What I'm trying to say, the reason I'm talking about OnlyFans specifically, is just because it's such a weird way, and replace weird with a positive word, which weird is not negative, but whatever. It's such a weird way to break the scheme of, like, I don't know, it's like, how do I say, I'm not going to edit this, by the way, I never will edit this, so that's why you hear me stumbling. But anyway, I feel it's just such a good way to break the mold because since the 70s, since the 60s, like you could see how it all develops basically. It's like women weren't allowed to wear bathing suits, and I'm probably wrong with all these facts. I'm not a historian, but basically then they started wearing like one piece, like an actual one piece, not the anime, which they could if they want to as well. But basically like a one piece bathing suit, and then the two-piece bathing suits came out, and then it kept evolving, which truly I will never ever fucking understand. How were women not allowed to work or vote? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, how would that ever be normal? It's like, how was slavery ever normal? Like, not normal, legal. How were those things ever legal? I'm like, yo, I know humans are fucked up, but damn, I'm like, were they fucked up just because they were alive a couple of years ago? Because being alive a couple of years ago is no excuse for fucked up shit to be legal, but then again, I'm speaking and I was born in 1992, so I have no way for me to see the world from their point of view, but from my point of view, that shit is fucking crazy. Like, the sense that racism was actually legal, and fucking women couldn't vote, they couldn't work. It's so weird how, like, not even 100 years ago, you could see humans act like really fucking dumb cavemans, like a caveman or cave people, I guess, whatever. And if you're, by the way, if you're listening to this and you live in a cave, by no means I'm calling you this. If you live in a cave and you can listen to this, please tell me what signal you got or what internet connection or whatever you got, because that shit is hefty. But anyway, yeah, it's so crazy how you can see it through history, just humans acting so crazy. And I'm like, what I'm trying to get is that from 100 years in the future, will humans see us as crazy as we see them? Not even 100 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. We only have the perspective of us, of you, of me. You know what I mean? Our first person perspective, and the perspective we have is one that was born in the year we were born, obviously in. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I think it's just like, I'm not a historian, like I said, but let's just use the Mayans, and I'm probably using the wrong ones. Yeah, the Mayans, the Maya, you know, or the Azteca. Now I'm nervous because I'm not sure which one of those it was. What I'm about to say, I think it was the Aztecs or the Mayans. Oh God, is it the Mayans? Whatever. I know it's not the Incas. So, you know, they're off the hook. But whichever one of those was the one that sacrificed hearts for the sun god, if I'm not mistaken, for them, that shit was normal. They were actually going to other tribes and getting war prisoners and sacrificing them. And I'm not even sure if some other people like volunteering for it. You know what I mean? And you see that from our perspective, and that shit's crazy, you know? And for them, it was normal. And if you're one of those and you're hearing this, no, I am not trying to offend anyone. But then again, it's pretty impossible that you're a man hearing this, which if you are, hit me up. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, it's so crazy. And like, what I'm trying to say, and please don't, I don't want to lose anyone, but what I'm trying to say is that it's just a perspective from as time goes, perspective changes. And I don't want to talk too much about perspective because I know that was basically the whole first episode. But yeah, it's just, your perspective is life, so how could you not talk about perspective? But whatever, let's just go back to the empty-headed conversation I was going to, which was the whole OnlyFans things, which I don't even know why I just came back to that shit. Oh yeah, the other ways of being an entrepreneur is, and I'm not one myself, well, I think I'm not one, or if I am one, I'm a shitty one because I'm broke as fuck. Basically, if you have a YouTube account and you want to upload videos and like go heavy at it, be serious at it, that's entrepreneurship. If you want to start your own brand, which by the way, I personally have friends that do have their own brands, and if you're listening to this, and if you're still listening to this, which I am highly amazed that if you are, you could check them out. One of them is called Perro Negro, which is Perro Negro, That's in Spanish, yes, I know. And the other one is growth. They're pretty badass friends, you know. They got their own clothing brands and stuff. So yeah, you could follow them. But anyway, entrepreneurship, it's basically, you know, it's just you trying to fight the system. It's just entrepreneurship is truly a way to fight the system in its own right. Just because you're not being a slave to the system, even though obviously you're paying taxes and whatever. But you're your own boss, or at least to some degree, you know what I mean? So yeah, and this other weird concept that no one ever tells you, that after you graduate college, it's not like you're going to automatically find a job in whatever the hell you studied. And if you did find a job exactly when you got out of college, yo, hats off to you. I'm not even wearing a hat. And if I did, I probably wouldn't take it off, but just imagine I did. So yeah, hats off to you. Because that shit ain't easy, yo. Like, you could have 4-point degree, whatever, but if you don't find that job, you ain't gonna be that person, or you're gonna work that shit. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying, in case you needed to hear that, then there you go. Free knowledge drip. But anyway, perseverance, it's basically you not giving up, right? Like, you not giving up. And you not giving up is basically you being a badass. Because that shit, it's not easy. It's so easy to say, hey, don't give up. Hey, keep strong, smile. But it truly feels like when people say that, it's like, oh, how is that going to help? But sometimes that's all you have to do. Sometimes you really just have to smile. And it won't make the problem go away, but at least it'll make the situation more tolerable. Yeah, there you go. But whatever, you know, I'm getting off track. And if you notice, there is no track. So we just flying in space, baby. And if you on board, tuckle in that seatbelt, because we going high, we going fly, and we going motherfucking to the sky. So yeah, that's what we do here in the Charlie V podcast. That's what we motherfucking do. And yes, we're about to take another. So strap on that. Seatbelts, not what you were thinking about. Seatbelt is what I was going to say that you should strap on. Yeah, weirdo. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, yeah, let's just take that hit. Here we go. Just hold that. Hold it. Keep it steady. Keep it steady, Captain. There we go. Now blow that shit out. And that's how we do in the Charlie V podcast. So, yo, what else? So, I don't know, whatever. It's just basically, I just wanted to get that. Just wanted to talk about that. Entrepreneurship and just ways that society has changed so much. And if you think about it, society. One time, I was in a job interview, and I'll never forget this. Oh, well, eventually I will. So that's why I'm saying it right now, just in case. Or for whenever I do. But whatever, anyway, I was in a job interview, and for some reason, this interviewer, which was a female, asked me, which that has nothing to do with the story, by the way, so I don't even know why I say that, but anyway, she asked me, what is society for you? And I'm like, first of all, this is an interview for lids. I don't be selling hats here. Why the hell are you asking me, what is society? And I'm like, so after that, which, good question, I guess. It's like, hey, what's society? I could tell you what size of hat you are? Nah. Anyway, so what I answered to her was, society, or she asked me, like, what was the problem of society, or whatever. It was a deep question about society, which I was not ready for. Because it's a fucking lids. I don't be selling hats. Well, like, I'm always down for a philosophical conversation. But whatever, anyway. So, my answer was, basically, the problem with society, and it's such a weird question to answer, because I don't fucking know, but to my opinion, it's, basically, society, it's like a machine that, machines all have individual pieces, but the thing about us humans is that we want to be the whole machine, that we want to be the whole thing, the whole book, cover, and the whole thing. And the thing is that, that's not how it's going to work, ever. because we are small pieces from the bigger machine, and that bigger machine is called society. Even if you feel like you're not a part of society, you kind of technically still are, you know what I mean? Because if you're paying taxes, whatever happens in society is kind of like, how do I say it? It's just this cause and reaction. Whatever you do has a meaning, and let's just say you always in your house or whatever, but your parents have jobs, so basically if you have a bad day in your house, it'll affect your parents, and your parents will go out to society, and that small initial impact of whatever the situation was, good or bad, will impact the society around, which would either be at work, at a traffic jam, and it could be anywhere, you know what I mean? It's just small things. It's like life every day, every time you wake up, it's like you throw a small snowball from a really high hill, and it just keeps rolling, you know? It could roll negatively or it could roll positively. It could just roll nowhere and just be another day, like a lost day or whatever. But it's rolling, you know what I mean? And that's life. When you wake up, every single decision will impact everything else. And I know it sounds cheesy, and if it sounds cheesy, get some nachos, because it's nacho cheesy. Hell yeah. Yeah, whatever. So if you heard that, you're still on point. Hey, there you go. You know what? That deserves another hit. So we all forget what the hell I just said, right? You hear that jingle? Let's get that shit. You sold that in? Get some clean air. Now let it out, Captain. So, smoking that, like I said earlier, that 40 years is an indica predominantly, 24.75 THC and 0.09 CBD. But yes, basically. So yeah, what I was trying to say is that basically everything you do will impact all your future decisions, and even that, just to use examples, let's just say you woke up, didn't wash your teeth, went out of work. Now you have that inner thought like, oh shit, I didn't wash my teeth today. And let's just say you think your mouth stinks, but the reality is no one is close to you, like close enough to you to even smell it in the first place. So you'll be conscious about yourself. You'll be moving, putting your hand in front of your mouth just consciously, because you're thinking your breath stinks. And maybe someone was going to talk to you and they see you do that, and then they think in their head for some reason that you don't want them to speak to you, and they just don't go, and then you lost a life opportunity. And let's just wait till that motorcycle passes by, just to give it a quick moment. Just enjoy that bass, enjoy that shit. Just a motorcycle passing by, and I am fully aware I could stop recording, but you are fully aware I won't. So, welcome to the Charlie V podcast. But anyway, like I was saying, if I remember, hopefully I will. Did I just forget? And I feel like I was going to a good place as well. Well, there we go. Just lost my train of thoughts. I hope it was a good one. It probably was, but I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I remembered. So, let's just say you didn't wash your mouth today, and now you got that conscious, you're self-conscious, you're blocking your mouth with your hand, and you just look like you don't want to talk to anyone that day. And then someone was going to talk to you. It could be the love of your life. They want to talk to you, and they just didn't because you seem really shy or really angry that day. And in reality, it was just you self-conscious because you didn't wash your teeth. That's how life works. You know what I mean? It's just basically every single small decision you take, and not that washing your teeth is a small decision, but every single small decision you take affects the rest of your day. It affects the way you act. It affects everything. So, you know, a ripple here, a wave there, a tsunami over here, you know. And yes, I just made that up. You could use that in your everyday life as well. It's not patented yet. But anyway, yeah, thank you. You know what's crazy? A lot of things are crazy. the things about these podcasts is that since I'm not editing, I'm just going at it. You know what I mean? So what you hear is what you get. The format of this might change, it might not. I don't even know. At this point, I just feel like I'm doing this for myself, but as well, I know I'm not. I know there's people listening to this. So, thank you for, joining on the train, joining on that weed journey of life and philosophy and falafels, which I don't have, but I do want some. But, it's what we do, it's what we live. We're humans at the end of the day. So, yeah. And just to close up everything, humans, we've done some crazy shit over centuries, positive and negative, which not even 100 years ago, like I said, there was a lot of things that were quote unquote normal, which I don't even know how the hell they were, to be honest. But they were. But they're not anymore. You know what I mean? Or at least predominantly, But it's sad that we, as humanity, were ever that low. You know what I mean? And the whole thing about everything is just so crazy to me. It's like I still can't believe that slaves were ever a thing. To be honest, that is so fucked up. I hear that, and that to me sounds like demons taking decisions for humans. I'm like, what human would fucking own another person? That a human shouldn't be able to do that. The only thing that would even have that thought would be a fucking demon. You know what I mean? And I'm not being religious when I say demon. By demon, I just mean really, really, really negative energy. That's basically what I mean. But what I'm trying to say is, just to end this with a positive note, is that if I can, because it's pretty sad, and think about it. And I don't know, it's just humans, man. It's so crazy how evolution just really, I feel humans, even though as fucked up as we are, we're kind of climbing out of that really dark place in which humanity was. You know what I mean? It's like they're still climbing. Humanity is still climbing. They're still insensitive people. They're still, thieves. They're still murderers. There's still a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that aren't anymore. You know what I mean? And things we consider so normal. You know what I mean? It's which there should always be normal. These problems, quote unquote, should never have been in the first place. You know what I mean? It's if you ask anyone with any sense of knowledge or brain, you would obviously know every human should be treated the same because we're humans. You know what I mean? It's even animals should be treated nice. Anything alive should be given love and should be given respect. And if you're not gonna give it love, just give it respect. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we're all in this world together at the same time. We all have something in common, and it is we are now here. You know what I mean? We are here now. It's I don't know. I'm just glad I was born in 1992. Because if I was born way, way, way before that, I don't even know. I'd be a revolutionary or something. Because I can't believe what I read sometimes in the history books. Which, you should never believe everything you read in the history books. But some things are kind of obvious that did happen. And those things, which I'm referring to, are fucking crazy. And if we want to talk about that, there's this book called War Against All Puerto Ricans, and in Spanish it's called La Guerra contra Todos los Puertorriqueños. I'm not sure if that's the name in Spanish, but anyway, in English it's called War Against All Puerto Ricans. If you ever get the chance to read that book, you should definitely read that book. It talks about Pedro Albizu Campo. He is a revolutionary from Puerto Rico. He had I don't want to say horrible death, but it was not how he deserved to go out. But anyway, it's a good book. If you read that, you'll end up being just going to be a flame inside of your heart that'll just ignite, even if you're not Puerto Rican, and you read that book, just because it lets you know how fucked up could reality be behind the scenes, or not even behind the scenes, but just how you see how not information is relayed from then to now, basically. So let me just see if I can make this episode longer, because if I do, it'll be awesome. But if not, it'll short out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a good night, everybody. Oh, it's still going? This is beautiful. We can just keep. For some reason, I thought it was going to stop recording at 30 minutes, but it keeps going. It keeps on going. This is beautiful. And I was kind of bummed out because I was like, I really don't want to end this episode just so tragically. Because I know I've spoken about some heavy topics today, but it's just, topics that if you don't want to listen to them, you could pause them or just take them away. But to be honest, I'm just exploring my brain, and you're taking that tour with me, you know what I mean? So, yeah, basically, that book is called The War Against All Puerto Ricans. It's pretty good, and like I said, even if you're not from Puerto Rico, which if you are, huepa, que la que hay, mi hermano. But if you're not, what's up, my brother? Anyway, what I was saying is that book basically talks a lot of. I don't want to come into detail about the book because it's just so good. I don't want to spoil it. It's good in a fucked up way because what's in the book, it's like fucked up because you could basically see experiments being done by the government, literally by the United States government, being done in Puerto Rico. And they're pretty fucked up shit. It's like basically a lot of women were going to the hospital. They were leaving the hospitals without sterilized, I guess would be the right term, without the ability to have kids, without their knowledge or consents. You know what I mean? And that was the government doing that to Puerto Rico's women by that time. It's fucked up. It's like, I don't know, man. And when I mean man, and I mean man, gal, girl, he, him, and whatever makes you feel loved and welcome to this world, that's what I said. And I really do mean that, 100%. I really do. But anyway, regarding the book, it's so crazy. You should definitely read that. It's called The War Against All Puerto Ricans. And, yeah, that book literally changed my life. And it's not a positive book, like change your life in a positive way. It's more like open your eyes to how like information is just stored under the bed and no one talks about it, but then you could easily read it and you'd be like, whoa, this shit really happened. Like, literally, I don't know, it's just mind-boggling. But anyway, let's just talk about something more positive, I guess. And never giving up. That is positive, right? But you know what's crazy? That sometimes you just need to know when to give up. Because not giving up is what it's all about, right? But knowing when to, I feel like it might be even more important. Because if you know not to give up, then you keep at it, But if you know when to do it, sometimes it's just not for you. Sometimes, hey, that was life. But, and if it's what you love, then really don't give up. But if sometimes, like, people get pressured into doing something that's not their passion, then in that case, hey, by all means, give up and do what you really want to do. So it's just sometimes words, they're just so blind, And there's something I always call heavy words. And by heavy words, those are just a word, not the actions, by the way. I mean, those heavy words are drugs, killing, lying. Just those three, per example. There's a million more. But just to use those three basic examples, what I mean is that when I say drugs, you probably think about cocaine, weed, just the common drugs. But it could be anything from coffee, Pepto-Bismol, normal over-the-cabinet medicine. But it could be from over-the-range to heroin and crack and all those heavy drugs as well. So it's just the word is so heavy. Like, let's just say, lying. You could lie to save your life, you know what I mean? But you could also lie to commit fraud. So it's just the word is so general, but it's so heavy, but it has so many negative connotations. It's like killing, which you could kill to save your life. You could kill to eat, you could kill to survive in the forest or whatever. But as well, opposite side, far end of the whatever, I guess, you could also, there's murders, killing people for no reason. So I feel like it's not gonna happen, but I do feel like we should kind of break down those type of words just because they're so general. You know what I mean? It's like And I know basically, was it the DEA has like drugs, I don't know, they have like divided by grades or like classified or whatever, but they're not as accurate, and we all know this. I feel like we should just have like type A, type B, type C. Let's just say type A would be like natural, like weed, shrooms, maybe cocaine, like in the leaf, in the natural state, not the processed like white powder. I mean, like just the leaf. Maybe there's people who do like teas of that shit or whatever. But then type B could be anything from like, I don't know, over the cabinet, like Pepto Bismol, or just doctor shit. And then the type C is the far end, the scary, you know what I mean, like the crystal meth, the heroin, the crack, all that, like all that nasty shit. And I'm sorry for clearing my throat, but whatever. Anyway, I'm just gonna take a sip of something real quick. Got that good old 7-Up. I'm not sponsored, but if they want to sponsor me, hit me up, even though, hey, they probably won't. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm just taking a sip of that. Probably going to take another sip. So you're going to have to bear with me for a second. And yes, I'm aware I could stop this recording, but as always, you're aware that I won't. Yo, what to do? So, yeah. So, heavy words. But yeah, I know words won't be changed because, words are just words. That's why we put them together and we explain what they mean, But then again, that's just English. I feel like Spanish is, well, I guess with these words, they're just so generally heavy, I guess, that even if you say in Spanish, like, it's still a heavy word, like droga. You don't know what I'm talking about. It could be anything, but whatever. So besides that, just words. The power of them could be heavy, could be weak, depending on what it is. But, hey, let's talk about Star Wars. Let me just cut all the philosophy and all the brain digging, and let's just talk about Star Wars. Because there's a couple things I really do want to talk about. So, Qui-Gon Jinn. The best well, not the best, but my favorite Jedi of the movies. Qui-Gon Jinn. Think about that. Obi-Wan is the OG, right? Well, technically, Qui-Gon Jinn is the OG, but whatever. Let's just say it's Obi-Wan for argument's sake. Because Obi-Wan is like the Kakashi from Naruto of like Star Wars. And you know that. You do, don't deny it. Anyway, so considering how cool Obi-Wan is, and Qui-Gon Jinn was his Jedi Master, so it's like, holy shit, how cool was Qui-Gon? But then again, he was killed by Darth Maul, and Darth Maul was like a teenager by that time. So it's like, then again, Darth Maul was so strong by the age he had. But, Qui-Gon Jinn, man, he's so cool. But anyway, what I was going to say is that, and I'm sure I'm wrong about this, because I'm sure there's people who know more than I do, and props to you. But if I'm not mistaken, after Star Wars 3 or 2, and yes, I mean that actual second one or third one, well, not third one, but 2 and 3 to be more exact. And if you know what I mean by that, you know what I mean. Anyway, at the end of one of those two, probably the third one, I think Yoda told Obi-Wan, he was talking about the Force and like, hey, there's someone, your old master is in the Force and he wants to speak with you, something along those lines at the end of the movie. But then that never happened, and I'm like, why would they even bring that up if they can't follow it up in the fourth one? But counter arguments, I know there's an answer to that, and I know I don't have it because I know there's so many lore between every word in Star Wars that I don't know about, but yes. And The Mandalorian, holy schnizer. Holy schnizer. That was a good episode, a good show. Couple of episodes were just kind of, was like spinning around in the same place, like that lizard episode. I personally didn't enjoy it. It's kind of weird. I feel like I was watching Power Rangers, dare I say. But I like Power Rangers, so that's like a props. I guess it's not even a bad thing. So I don't know why I said it, but But yeah, it's a good show. It's a good show. Definitely recommend it. Yo, watching WandaVision. Oh my god, it's good. After you see the second episode, you realize you're like, oh shit, I see why they aired out the first one and the second one. Because if you had to wait a week between the first one and the second one, trust me, I think no one would, yo. Because that first episode was a Uzi. Like, I get the concept. I know it's trying to be like an old, cheesy show, but it's like heavy on the cheese, It's like heavy on the cheese. It's like, even if you're not lactose intolerant, you'll be farting a storm after seeing that first episode. If, big if you don't watch the second episode. Because then when you watch the second episode, you're like, oh yeah, I see how they tied one with the other one pretty nicely. And also, the part when they're eating and this guy is choking in the first episode. By the way, spoiler alert and all this, which is not even important, they're just stupid details. But this guy's just choking, and his wife, or like Wanda's like, stop it. Just she goes on a loop, stop it. Yo, if that didn't remind you of Twin Peaks, directed by David Lynch, yo, that shit was so Twin Peakish. Yeah, and I mean like Twin Peaks. It was like that weird, disturbing vibe. I'm like, oh, definitely inspired by that. Talking about David Lynch, yo, Eraserhead. Have you seen that movie? So I'm just gonna say it. There's this movie called Eraserhead, and just like a pencil eraser, Eraserhead. You should definitely watch that movie. It's in black and white. If you see it and you're like, hey, he doesn't mean this movie. Yes, that's the movie that I do mean. It's called Eraserhead. Definitely you should watch that. That movie is, I don't know, I don't want to say it. Just watch it. You'll be very happy once you see the whole thing. And just to give you a FYI, it took me 3 tries to see the whole movie. Just because you'll like that movie, Eraserhead by David Lynch. Anyway, not sure if we're gonna keep on going or rolling. Like the great poet Fred Durst said, rolla, 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 rollin'. Yo, wouldn't it be a good jingle for like, I don't know, like a blunt commercial, or like a burrito commercial, or for like anything, or like a pretzel commercial, like any of the above mentioned. Like, imagine it and just having this track, rolla, 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 rollin', rolla, roll, like the Fred Durst. That would be beautiful, if you ask me. And you didn't, but there you go. So yeah, that is gonna be it for today. I know we talked about a lot, but before we end, we are gonna take one more of those. Maybe more than one, but not just one, because I don't want to pack this again. Well, I will, but after the podcast. So let's hit that. Let's get it. Oh shit, didn't hit it. Oh yeah, by the way, I like to hit it. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but when I hit the bowl or whatever, just hit like. And if you're still listening to this, props to you. If you're here in minute 43, second 45, yo, props. You're a fucking hero. You're fucking beautiful. Even if you don't have a face, you're beautiful. If you're by minute 43, second 57, you're beautiful. It's probably true. But yeah, let me take that last hit. We at it. So we just hold that in, get some clean air, hold it. Now we let it blow. So that was it for today. We're gonna end this at 45 minutes just because it is such a good number. I love pair numbers. To the pair numbers like 2, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, they make my heart kind of warm in a way that's weird to explain, but yes, pair numbers are beautiful. And yes, I know it has a acronym for that, but whatever. 45 minutes. This is it, my people. We get it. Psych. We wait until 46. You know what? I'm gonna try to start a trend, or not even a trend, but I'm gonna end every episode on a pair number, just because it makes me feel good on the inside. So today's episode will end at 46 minutes. You've all been beautiful. You've all been good. We talked about the sad, the good, the ugly, but at the end of the day, just remember, we as humans we are still climbing out of that hellish hole which we came out of. So yeah, just give it a couple of years, and I know we all want to be alive to see the change, but our part of this is to make the change happen. So we are the change for the future. So let's just get it. Let's just get the grind. Money is important, but so is life, so is family, so is love. So that is it for today, my peeps. Welcome to the Charlie V podcast, episode 3. Wait till next time. 46 minutes. Beautiful number. Take care, peeps. Gang, gang.